Okay, this is the kind of thing I think they'll do on the AP test because it means they can say your calculator is allowed, but they create a problem where it doesn't really help to have your calculator. And you don't have to have your calculator. So anyway, find k prime of x. So I need to take the derivative of k. So k is equal to h of f. So that's going to require the chain rule. So k prime of x will equal h prime of f. Remember, you don't ever plug in something for x because x is a variable until you finish using all the derivative rules. So we get to there. If I get that far, they will give me 1 point. Now I have to substitute pi for x. So I write on my paper, k prime of pi must equal h prime of f of pi, f prime of pi. I cannot stop there. I've got to resolve all the function references. So part A, we found what f prime of pi is equal to, although we didn't really work it out. We don't have to work it out. You can literally plug in this entire thing for f prime of pi right here. Or really, because you found f prime of pi, you can just let them know that that was found in part A. For simplicity here, if we did work this out, the sine of 2 pi is 0. You can use your calculator again, so it's not really that hard. The cosine of pi is -1. The sine of pi is 0. E to the 0 is also 1. So the whole thing works out to be -1. You could find that very quickly by just typing it in your calculator. So anyway, this becomes, oh, I guess I am going to have to find that. So you would have to do that on your calculator because I'm going to end up with h prime of -1, and they will expect you to go figure out what is the value for h prime of -1. So you would have to pick up your calculator and get this value to answer part B. You could stop in part A right here, but to get to part B, you'd have to get the -1. Helps if you don't make a mistake. That was the value for f prime of pi. Sorry about that, got a little mixed up. So this is going to be, let's see, we've got to find f of pi. So let's go do that. So f of pi is going to equal the cosine of 2 times pi plus e raised to the sine of pi. Again, the sine of pi is 0, e to the 0 is 1, cosine of 2 pi is 1, so that's going to equal 2, 1 plus 1. Again, you could just type that in your calculator. So that comes out to be f of pi is equal to 2. So now I have h prime of 2, because that was my f of pi value. Then f prime of pi is -1. Now I look up at the graph of h, and I go find h prime of 2. Means I come over here to x equal 2. And I have to find h prime, which means the slope right there. This line goes down 1. It goes over 3. So that's -1/3. This is equal to -1/3 multiplied by -1. If you stop there, you get one more point. If you kept going and wrote +1/3, you'd still get the point, of course. So 2 points total on this part B. just reiterating, 1 point just for getting to here. When you start plugging things in, you are going to have to find this value, although because that value, and then that value gets plugged into H prime, I did have to go farther. I had to find that that was exactly 2, so I could go evaluate the H prime of 2. The F prime of pi could technically be left as this big mess, and they'd still give you the points because you didn't end up having to use that for anything. I simplified it, but you didn't have to. So 2 points total for 2 points for this problem.